Okay, guys, this is Map 1, Week 3. So, Week 2. I'm getting ahead of myself. Okay, Week 2. Sorry about that. Okay, so we have Introduction to Absolute Value Equations. So, absolute value is the distance a value or expression is from 0 on a number line. So, the absolute value of -3 equals 3. The absolute value of 3 equals 3. So both are 3 away from 0. So example 1, the absolute value of x equals 3. So it's 3 away from 0. So the absolute value is x equals 3 and x equals -1 or -3. So it says for numbers 1 to 6, match the absolute value equations with their solution a to f. So your teachers provided you with the solutions at the bottom of this page. It's say for example 1, x equals 7. The absolute value, if you look at f, is x equals 7 and -7. So all of the solutions are at the bottom of the page. You can go back and review the notes, but it's pretty much the actual positive number and then also the negative number is the answer. Okay, so this is day 2, week 2, day 2. Solve absolute value equations, part 1. Solve the equation x plus 1 equals 3. So you're going to split that into two equations. X plus 1 equals 3 and x plus 1 equals -3. So you look at x plus 1 equals 3. You're going to -1, -1. The ones will cancel out. Bring your x down. 3 minus 1 is 2. And do the same thing for the other side. Okay, the only difference is -3 minus 1 is -4. Okay? So let's look at the first one. B plus 5 equals 10. So you have two solutions and two props. So you rewrite the problem, b plus 5, b plus 5. The only difference is the 10, and the first one is positive, and the second one, it is negative, okay? And then step 2, solve, okay? So you're just getting b by itself by subtracting off the number, which in this case is -5. For number 2, you do the same exact thing. So you write two problems. One ends with a 7, the other one ends with a -7. And then subtract 3 from both sides. And then in the first problem you get x equals 4. The second problem you get x equals -10. You're going to do the same thing for 3 and 4. Sorry guys, I got my slides messed up for a second here. Okay, and then 5. The only difference on this one is you're not subtracting, you're dividing because it's 9 times n equals 54. So divide both sides by 9. Cancel out your 9s. 9 goes into 54 6 times. 9 goes into -54, -6 times. On the other side, you have a plus 8 equals 6. You're going back to subtraction. Subtracting 8 from both sides, okay, and then bringing down your answer. Okay, and then back to division. So you have 3 times n equals 18. So divide by 3, divide by 3. Do your division. 3 goes into 18 6 times. 3 goes into -18, -6 times. And you can see your teachers provided you with the answer so you can check. I didn't actually check to make sure mine were all right, so double check me. But I'm sure they're going to want you to show your work since they've given you the answers, okay? So week 2, day 3, it says, break the problem into two equations since the expression inside the absolute value can be equal to 11, positive, and -11. Step 2, solve both equations for x, okay? So let's look at some of those problems. So number 1, we have 2k plus 1 equals 3. So this is more of the same, okay? So you're going to write two problems out, okay? In one problem you have a +3 at the end, and the other one you have a -3 at the end, okay? So you're just subtracting the -1 to move it over. And then there is one more step because you're bringing the 2k down. So you also need to divide the 2's off. Okay. The next problem, you have the same kind of problem. You need to add 9, okay, to both sides. Cross your 9's out. Add up your numbers or subtract. And then divide off your 2's, okay? What I did here is I copy and pasted here 1 and 3, okay? So I went down, so keep that in mind. So over here is 2 and 4. And you can see these are the same problems. And again, solutions have been provided you by your teacher. So double check to make sure these are accurate and work them out yourself. And number 5, we have the same thing again, okay? So first we are going to subtract the -4, and then we're going to divide by the 8, okay? And then number 7, we add 4, and then we divide by -8. Okay, and then 6 and 8. Let's see if there's anything different here. There isn't, okay? So it's just practicing these different types of problems, okay? Week 2, day 4, we have x. Absolute value of x is less than or equal to 3. What numbers are less than or equal to 3 away from 0? Okay, so there's a list of numbers. Okay, they each represent a dot. But what about all the points in between? All are less than or equal to 3 away from 0, but what about all those points in between? So the graph should really look like this, the second box, okay? Everything's shaded from -3 to 3. The solution looks like -3 is less than or equal to x. X is less than or equal to 3. Or it can be written like the other way, where you separate it out. When it is x, absolute value of x is greater than or equal to 3, you're going to see that the shading divides, okay? It goes in 2 opposite directions, okay? Look at the bottom there and see how it's going in opposite directions. So it's solved a little bit differently. All right, so step 1, change the inequality to an equation. So we have absolute value of x equals 2. Break the problem into 2 equations. X equals 2, x equals -2. Step 3, these are the boundary points. Okay, so we circled -2 and 2. Plot the points on a number line. Okay, so we have -2 going one direction, 2 going another direction, and then you have the middle part. Okay. Step 6, shade the number line. Okay, so you shade it in between. So -2 is less than x. X is less than 2. Or it can be written as x is greater than -2 and x is less than 2. Okay, so for numbers 1 to 4, match the absolute value inequalities with their solutions, okay? So we have absolute value of x is greater than or equal to 4. So you look for the number line and the expression that goes with it, okay? You do that for each one, okay? And again, your teacher has provided you with the solutions at the bottom of this page. For problems 5 to 8, solve the absolute value inequalities. So the absolute value of x is less than or equal to 1. So if the absolute value is -1 and 1, then we're going to, that should be negative on one side. So we're going to circle in -1 and 1, okay? So we have -1 is less than or equal to x. X is less than or equal to 1, okay? On number 6, we have the absolute value of x is greater than or equal to 30. So again, we have to circle in, okay? negative. I forgot to write my negatives on there, but it's on your left side, so you should know it's negative, okay? Um, so anyway, circle in the negative 30, and the arrow is going to go to your left, and then circle in the positive 30, and it's going to your right. X is greater than or equal to negative 30, or X is less than or equal to 30. Number 7, it says absolute value of X is greater than 2.6. So you can start with an open circle on 2.6 and negative 2.6, and then a positive 2.6. So X is less than negative 2.6, or X is greater than 2.6. Number 8, absolute value of X is less than 1/2. Okay, so you can see open circle on 1/2 on both sides, the negative and the positive side. Negative 1/2 is less than X. X is less than 1/2. Okay, week 2, day 5. Okay, so solve and graph the inequality. Absolute value X plus 3 is less than or equal to 5. Change the inequality to an equation. So we make it an equal sign. Then we rewrite it, breaking the problem into 2. One with a positive 5, one with a negative 5. Then you subtract 3 to both sides and solve for X. Okay. Step 4, plot the points on a number line. So because it has that line underneath there, it's also equal to, so you shade it in. Shade in the negative 8 and the 2. And then step 6, shade the number line. And then your last step is write the solution as an equality. So negative 8 is less than or equal to X. X is less than or equal to 2. Or you can write it, you can flip your X's and put the X's first. And just say X is greater than or equal to negative 8. And X is less than or equal to 2. Okay, so here's some of the problems. You rewrite the two equations, okay? I left the sign there, but you could just write equals, okay? Whichever is easiest for you. If I put equals, sometimes I'll forget that it's an inequality. So one's positive, one's negative for the 4s, and I solve the equation, and then I plot it on the line. I circle in the 0 and the 8, and then I connect them. And then as far as test points, if you want to see what equation would be true, you select a point on one side of each dot. So on the other side of 0 is negative 2, and on the other side of 8 is 10. And you plug those into the equation and see if it's true. So in the first equation, I plugged in negative 2, and I solved it, and it said negative 2 is less than or equal to 8. Okay, that's false. And on the second one, I plugged in 10. 10 minus 4 is, what did I do there? I actually messed up there, didn't I? I went to, wait, did I? Plus 4 is 8. Okay, no. All right, and then I tested out 2 other points on the second equation, okay? You guys can look at that. So it's, 10 is less than or equal to 8, false, okay? And then plug in the negative 2 on the next one, and then plug in the 10 on the next one. Okay, I know that was confusing. Sorry about that. Number 2, absolute value m plus 6 is less than 1. So you're going to do the same thing, write 2 equations. One is positive, and then one is negative 1, and solve. And then plot on the number line, and then write the equation. Okay, and this is day 5. Okay, so let me open this up a little bit. So the absolute value of 7p is less than 56. Divide both sides by 7. 7 goes into 56 8 times. 7 goes into negative 56 negative 8 times. Then plot your line. I did test points on these that you can look at. Basically, again, you're just choosing a number that's on opposite sides of the circles that are not shaded in and seeing what is true or false. Okay? For number 4, we just have to, no division on this one. You just have to subtract the 8 and solve. On 5, you have 2b plus 5 is less than 5 on one side. Do your subtraction, subtracting the 5s. And then on the one that, this one, it's 0, so you don't have to divide. On the other side, you do your subtraction of minus 5 and then divide your 2. Okay? Plot your point, check your test points. And you can see at the bottom here, you could double check to see if you're doing this right, because you've been provided the answers. This is just to help you with solutions, okay? So I believe this is it for week 2. So I went through that really fast. So if you have any questions, let me know. If you'd rather I do individual lessons and go slower, please let me know. You guys have a good day, and I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.